Yes, I am changing the filming angle since I'm still doing my 2 chairs in the room over 24 hours challenge. So this is my take on the Hubert Kós 200 meters backstroke, 1 minute 54.14 seconds on 28 July 2023. So it was in the final at the 2023 World Aquatics Championships. Yes, I do need to go back because I couldn't remember where they were held. Fukuoka, Japan. This one is like one of the ones that was scheduled for 2 years earlier. Or a year earlier, but then it ended up being held somewhere else. Hubert Kós. So when I was in I was an undergraduate at the University of Hawaii at Manoa applying to graduate schools, I actually interviewed with a guy at Georgia, or not interviewed. It was Joe Dufek was kind of like the head guy, but there was another person I was tentatively looking at doing research with. I got a really good offer and stuff. And his name was Chris Hubert. So Hubert Kós is like, it's kind of like Chris Hubert. Hubert. So there was, in watching Mr. Kós swim, Chris Hubert, there's been a bit of that going on. I'm like, alright, I need to remember this swimmer instead of this guy. For my graduate school visits, so there's a little bit of personal note about familiarity with the name space. And I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. This is my YouTube channel, Tanis Leonhardi, and I'm filming this on 26 December 2023, which is a Tuesday. And so he achieved this time in 1 minute and 54.14 seconds in the final of the 200 meter backstroke at the 2023 World Aquatics Championships in Fukuoka, Japan, in the final on Friday, 28 July 2023. It was a new personal best time for him, a Hungarian national record time for him, and it won him the world title for that given edition of the championships. I will link to, earlier in the year, I actually saw him swim in person here in Washington State. I went to the King County Aquatic Center for the 2023 Pac-12 Swimming and Diving Championships, both men and women's. So there are 2 different days, and one of the days he swam, and I photographed him and published a picture I took of him on Wikimedia Commons, which is part of the Wikipedia umbrella stuff. And this was an interesting one because I remember I was going out for a day adventure in Marysville, the Marysville area here in Washington State, and I was debating on whether I would actually watch any YouTube videos before I headed out on the day for my day adventure. And I decided to watch one YouTube video. And the YouTube video I watched was an interview of Hubert Kós, on Mzetti Sport Online, and I'll link to the video in the video description here. And I actually commented on it. I think I went back and commented though. Like I watched it and then I returned and commented. And then I search engine searched myself later in the year after that, and like my name, and it used to be, so like I published a number of pictures on Wikimedia Commons, not just of him but of other swimmers as well, and the in the top 10 search results was a picture I took of him. And I was like, well, this is the first time I've been search engine optimized with a man. And I thought this was very timely for my who in my wedding and moving and stuff. Because it was like, well, yeah, especially looking like Dominique Szoboszlai is my who. There's a bit of search engine optimization for the man and the woman together. It's new. And for me, the first man that was achieved with was Kós Hubert, and it came after him with this title and me commenting on the YouTube video. So I've commented on or made note on this YouTube channel before that I was like, maybe the YouTube comment factored in. If it did, it's because I comment with my real name, right? So a lot of people might not experience that whatsoever because they don't use their real names. And like I use my real name with the Wikimedia Commons file. So like I used my real name in editing and stuff. So I can be search engine optimized. Some people don't do that. They don't use their real name. So then they don't get optimized via their real name or at all. So yeah. And so it was an interesting one in terms of watching here on YouTube, because that was the only thing I saw before I went out on the day, was this interview that resulted in me getting potentially search engine optimized with him. I think a more interesting thing looking forward to the future would be, so I can search myself in this picture with him shows up, and Hubert Kós shows up. It'd be more interesting if it went, from my perspective, if it went the other way, especially heading into a year of the Olympic Games being held, right? If he's the defender of the world title, and the 100 meter backstrokes. Would be interesting if somebody searched his name and got me or this picture I published of him. So that kind of thing starts to become curious, and especially if he's one of my soulmates, my many soulmates. And so this is timely for the search engine optimization with my who and my who am I wedding, but also then thinking through, okay, I said he might be a greeter when I move. How do I get to my greeter in moving? So let's say time coincident, my who am I wedding, here at my parents' house, and then we move. How do we fly? If we're flying through Bellingham, we don't get as big of an airplane. So what might the flight plan be to Aberdeen and arriving in Hubert Kós being one of my greeters in that video, potentially, possibly, hypothetically. One hypothetical flight plan might be like Bellingham, so via private jet, Bellingham to Washington State to Detroit, Michigan to London, England to Aberdeen, Scotland. I don't know if that would work. A change of airplane might be necessary, but that's the leading my Mr. Lemur Leonhardi Dominique Sabosai wants to fly through Detroit, and I like Detroit. So yeah, there we go. That's my athletic performance contextualization. He did good, and it was different in terms of my YouTube viewing, commenting, so consumption and production, I guess, now in making this video as well. Trying to get it done before the end of the year. So it's the same year as his attaining of this. It's actually less than 6 months later. It was July and it's now December. Less than 5 months later. I did pretty good. Alright. Happy day and time of viewing whenever you're viewing this, and happy place of viewing wherever you're viewing this from.